The MCAT scores arrived in my inbox on a Wednesday morning in June. My younger sister Emma's. I remember staring at that number, my hands shaking as I held my phone. 4 years of pre-med. Countless all-nighters. Volunteer shifts at the hospital that left me so exhausted I'd fall asleep on the bus home. And here it was. The number that would determine everything. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is there. I called Mom immediately. I got my score, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. There was a pause. That's wonderful, sweetie. Emma got hers too. That's great, I said. And I meant it. Emma had worked hard too. Your father wants to talk to you both this weekend, Mom said. Family dinner. Saturday at 6. I should have known something was coming. Saturday arrived, and I drove the 40 minutes back to my childhood home in Sacramento. Emma's car was already in the driveway. The white Lexus Dad had bought her for her 21st birthday. I pulled my 2008 Honda Civic in behind it. Inside, the smell of Mom's pot roast filled the house. Emma was setting the table, her blonde hair pulled back in a neat ponytail. She looked up and smiled. Hey, Liv. Congrats on your score. You too, I said, giving her a hug. Whatever was coming, it wasn't Emma's fault. We'd always been close, despite everything. Dad was in his study. I could hear him on a phone call, his voice that particular blend of authoritative and charming that had made him successful in commercial real estate. Mom was in the kitchen, and I joined her, stealing a piece of carrot from the cutting board. How's the apartment? She asked. Cramped. You know, I'd been living in a studio in Stockton, working as a medical scribe to build my application. The pay was terrible, but the experience was invaluable. Dinner started pleasantly enough. Dad asked about our applications, our school choices. Emma had applied to 7 schools, all in California. I'd applied to 15, spreading my net wider, knowing that every application was $170 I couldn't really afford. Then Dad set down his fork. Girls, he said, your mother and I need to talk to you about something important. My stomach dropped. You both know that medical school is expensive, he continued. We've been planning for this, saving where we can. But the reality is, we can only afford to fully fund one of you through medical school. The room went silent except for the sound of the grandfather clock in the hallway. What do you mean fully fund one of us? I asked. Dad looked at Mom. She looked down at her plate. Emma, Dad said, turning to my sister, you're younger. You have your whole life ahead of you. And frankly, you've had a harder time with academics. You need this support more. I felt like I'd been slapped. Liv, Dad continued, not looking at me. You've always been the resilient one. You're stronger. You can handle the loans. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. The words landed like stones. Emma's face had gone pale. Dad, I don't. It's decided, Dad said firmly. We'll pay Emma's tuition, room, and board. Liv, we'll help where we can, but you'll need to take out loans for the bulk of it. I couldn't speak. I looked at Mom. She was crying silently. How much are we talking about? I finally managed. Medical school runs about $60,000 a year, Dad said. Times 4 years, plus living expenses. You're looking at around $300,000 in loans. $300,000. The number echoed in my head. Why? I asked. My voice sounded strange, distant. Because Emma needs it more, Dad said. You've always landed on your feet, Liv. You got better grades, better test scores. You don't need us the way she does. The logic was so twisted it took my breath away. I'd worked harder, achieved more, and my punishment was to carry $300,000 in debt? I stood up from the table. I need some air. Outside, I sat on the porch steps, the same steps where I'd studied for my SATs, where I'd gotten the call about my college acceptance, where I'd cried after my first breakup. Emma came out and sat beside me. Liv, I don't want this, she said quietly. It's not fair. It's not your fault, I told her. And it wasn't. Emma hadn't asked for this. She was as trapped in our parents' decision as I was. I could turn it down, Emma said. Tell them to split it evenly. I looked at her. Sweet, genuine Emma. Don't do that, I said. They've made their choice. Just promise me you'll make the most of it. She hugged me tight. I promise. I drove back to my apartment that night and didn't cry until I was inside with the door locked behind me. Then I sat on my secondhand couch and let it all out. The acceptance letters came in March. Emma got into UC Davis. I got into the University of Nevada, Reno. Not my first choice, but it was the most affordable option on my list, and they'd offered me a small scholarship that would shave $10,000 off each year. Still, I'd be borrowing $240,000. I called the financial aid office and set up my loan packages. Federal loans maxed out at about $40,000 per year. The rest would be private loans at variable interest rates. My loan officer, a kind woman named Patricia, walked me through the terms. "Honey," she said gently, "you understand what you're signing up for? This is a mortgage without the house." "I understand," I said. What choice did I have? Medical school started in August. Emma and I texted regularly those first few weeks. Her messages were full of excitement. "The apartment Dad found is amazing. 2 bedrooms, and I have my own bathroom. Just bought my textbooks with the credit card Mom gave me. Going to grab dinner with some classmates at this cute Italian place." My messages back were shorter. "Orientation went well. Classes are intense. Talk soon." What I didn't tell her: I was living in a basement studio apartment that smelled like mildew. The window looked out at street level, and I could see people's feet walking by. I'd bought my textbooks used from upperclassmen and supplemented with library copies when I could. Dinner was usually ramen or rice with whatever protein I could get on sale. I'd gotten a job at a 24-hour urgent care clinic, working overnight shifts Friday and Saturday. 6 p.m. to set 12 hours of checking in patients, taking vitals, updating charts. I'd study during the quiet hours, my textbooks spread across the reception desk, highlighter in hand. Sunday mornings, I'd drive for a rideshare company. Hungover college kids heading home, airport runs, grocery trips, another $100 to $150 if I was lucky. My anatomy professor, Dr. Chen, pulled me aside after class one Thursday. "Morrison, you fell asleep during the lecture on the cardiovascular system." "I'm sorry," I said. "I work nights on the weekend. I'm still catching up on sleep." She looked at me for a long moment. "You're a good student, one of the best in the class, but you can't learn medicine if you're not conscious." I know. It won't happen again. It happened again 3 weeks later. This time in histology. Mom called every Sunday. "How's school, honey?" she'd ask. "Fine," I'd say. "Are you eating enough? Do you need anything?" What I needed was $240,000. What I said was, "I'm good, Mom." Emma made the dean's list her first semester, Mom said one Sunday in January. "We're so proud of her." "That's great," I said. I'd made the dean's list too. Nobody mentioned it. "Your father wants to take her to Hawaii for spring break. A little celebration." "That sounds nice. You could come too, if you want. If you can get the time off." I couldn't afford the plane ticket. I couldn't afford to take a week off work. "I have exams," I lied. "But thanks." Spring break. I worked 60 hours between the clinic and the rideshare gigs. I made $200. After rent and loan payments, I had $300 left for food for the month. I ate a lot of oatmeal that April. Second year was harder. The course load intensified. Pathology, pharmacology. The material was dense, complex, requiring hours of memorization and synthesis. My classmates studied in groups, met at coffee shops, had the luxury of focus. I studied alone, in the 30-minute breaks between patients at the clinic, on the bus to and from campus, standing in line at the grocery store with flashcards in my hand. Martinez, my pharmacology professor, had been a practicing physician for 20 years before transitioning to teaching. She was brilliant, demanding, and fair. After I scored the highest in the class on her midterm, she asked me to stay after class. "You're going into $240,000 of debt for this degree," she said. Not a question. She'd looked at my financial aid status. "Yes, ma'am. Why not take a year off? Work, save money, reduce that burden? Because then I'd be a year behind," I said. "An extra year of interest accumulating. An extra year before I can start earning." She nodded slowly. "What do you want to specialize in?" "Neurosurgery," I said. I'd known since I was 16, since I'd watched a neurosurgeon remove a tumor from my grandmother's brain and give us 2 more years with her. Martinez smiled. "We need more women in the field. Come to my office hours. I'll help you prepare for the boards." She became my mentor. Every Tuesday at 4 p.m., I'd go to her cramped office, that smelled like coffee and old books. And she'd grill me on pharmacological mechanisms, drug interactions, clinical applications. She never asked for anything in return. "Why are you helping me?" I asked her once. "Because 30 years ago, I was you," she said. "And someone helped me. I'm paying it forward." Third year was clinical rotations. We were finally in hospitals, working with real patients. It was exhilarating and exhausting. Surgery rotations started at 5 a.m. I'd finish my shift at the clinic at 7 a.m., go home, shower, and be at the hospital by 5:30 a.m. I'd work until 6 p.m., go home, sleep for 3 hours, and start again. I lost 15 pounds. My hair started falling out in clumps. I developed a tremor in my right hand from caffeine overconsumption and sleep deprivation. Hassan, the neurosurgeon I was rotating with, noticed. "When did you last have a full night's sleep?" he asked. "I'm not sure," I admitted. "You're going to kill someone," he said bluntly. "Or yourself. You can't operate on 4 hours of sleep." "I'm managing," I said. "You're surviving," he corrected. "There's a difference." He arranged for me to switch to day shifts at the clinic. It meant less money, but it also meant I could sleep at night. My performance improved immediately. Emma called me that November. "Liv, I need to tell you something." My heart sank. "What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong. I wanted you to know. I got engaged." "Engaged?" I sat down hard on my bed. "His name is Tyler. He's in my class. We've been dating for a year. Dad really likes him. His family is in medicine too. Tyler's father is a cardiologist." "Emma, that's wonderful," I said. And I meant it. "Congratulations. The wedding will be next summer. After we graduate, I want you to be my maid of honor." "Of course," I said. "I'd be honored." After we hung up, I looked around my apartment. At the stack of instant ramen on my desk. At the secondhand blanket on my bed. At the acceptance letter from Mayo Clinic's neurosurgery program, the most competitive in the country, that I'd just received that morning. I'd applied on a whim. The acceptance rate was 2%. They took 12 residents a year out of 600 applicants. And they'd chosen me. I hadn't told anyone yet. Not Dr. Martinez. Not Dr. Hassan. Not my parents. I wasn't sure why I was keeping it quiet. Maybe because I wanted to savor it. Maybe because I was afraid that if I said it out loud, it would disappear. Fourth year was easier academically but harder emotionally. I was done with rotations. I was studying for Step 2 of the medical boards. I was preparing for match day, when fourth-year medical students across the country learn where they'll spend the next 5 to 7 years of their lives as residents. I'd interviewed at 15 programs. Mayo was my first choice by a mile. But I'd also applied to solid programs at UCSF, Stanford, UCLA, programs where I'd be happy, where I'd get excellent training. Emma and I were graduating the same weekend in May. UC Davis's ceremony was on Saturday. UNR's was on Sunday. Mom called in March. "Your father and I will be at Emma's graduation," she said. "We'll drive up to Reno after, but we might be a bit late to yours." "That's fine," I said. "Emma's getting married the week after graduation," Mom continued. "The wedding is going to be beautiful. Tyler's parents are helping pay for it. It's at the Ritz-Carlton in Half Moon Bay." "Sounds lovely. You'll need a dress." "For the maid of honor, Emma wants everyone in Dusty Rose." I looked up Dusty Rose bridesmaid dresses online after we hung up. $250 to $400. I bought one on sale for $180 and ate ramen for 2 weeks to make up the difference. Match day was in March, the third Friday of the month. The entire fourth-year class gathered in the auditorium at noon. We each had an envelope with our name on it. Inside was the name of the program where we'd matched. The dean gave a speech about the journey ahead, about the privilege of medicine, about service. Then he said, "You may open your envelopes." The room erupted in sound. Screams, cheers, tears. I opened mine with shaking hands. Mayo Clinic, Department of Neurosurgery. I stared at the words. Read them again. And again. The girl next to me was crying. "I didn't match," she sobbed. "I'm in the SOAP, the Supplemental Offer and Acceptance Program, the scramble for students who didn't match." I put my arm around her shoulder. "You're going to be okay," I told her. "You're going to be a great doctor." But inside, I was soaring. I texted Dr. Martinez. Neurosurgery. She called me immediately. I knew it, she said. I knew you'd do it. Liv, do you understand what this means? Mayo's neurosurgery program is the best in the world. I know, I said. And I did. But it felt surreal. I didn't call my parents. I wasn't sure why. Maybe because I wanted to wait until graduation. Maybe because I wanted to see their faces when they heard. Emma's graduation was beautiful. UC Davis's campus was gorgeous in May, the trees in full bloom. Tyler was there with his parents, a handsome couple in their 50s who shook my hand and said all the right things. Dad was beaming, taking photos with his expensive camera. Mom cried when Emma walked across the stage. We had lunch afterward at an upscale restaurant in Davis. Dad ordered champagne. To Emma, he said, raising his glass. Our doctor. To Emma, we echoed. And to Tyler, Dad continued, who's matched at Stanford Cardiology, the best program on the West Coast. Thank you, sir, Tyler said modestly. Nobody mentioned that I was graduating the next day. Nobody asked where I'd matched. My graduation was at 2 p.m. on Sunday. Mom and Dad arrived at 1:45 p.m., sliding into seats near the back. Emma came with them, Tyler at her side. The ceremony was smaller than UC Davis's. UNR's medical school graduated 80 students a year, compared to Davis's 120. But it was my ceremony, my accomplishment. The dean, Dr. Patricia Wong, was a neurosurgeon herself. She'd trained at Johns Hopkins, practiced for 15 years, then moved into administration. I'd met with her several times over the years, and she'd been encouraging and supportive. She began the ceremony with a speech. Medical education is a marathon, she said. These students have persevered through 4 years of rigorous training. But I want to take a moment to recognize some truly exceptional achievements. She listed off a few awards. Research achievements. Service awards. Then she said, this year, I'm particularly proud to announce that one of our students has matched at what is widely considered the most competitive residency program in the country. The Mayo Clinic Department of Neurosurgery accepts 12 residents per year from a pool of over 600 applicants. Olivia Morrison, would you please stand? My heart stopped. I stood, my legs shaking. Olivia has not only matched at Mayo, Dr. Wong continued, but she's done so while working 2 jobs to pay her way through medical school. She's maintained a 3.9 GPA. She's published 2 research papers. And she's done all of this with grace, determination, and humility. The auditorium erupted in applause. I could feel my classmates looking at me, some with smiles, some with surprise. I glanced back at my parents. Mom had her hand over her mouth. Dad's face was pale. Olivia, Dr. Wong said. Could you come up here, please? I walked to the stage on legs that didn't feel like my own. Wong shook my hand, then handed me a plaque. The Dean's Award for Excellence, she said. For the graduating student who best exemplifies the values of our institution, excellence in academics, dedication to service, and perseverance in the face of adversity. I looked down at the plaque. My name was engraved in gold. Thank you, I managed to say into the microphone. Thank you to Dr. Martinez, Dr. Hassan, Dr. Wong, and everyone who believed in me. And thank you to my classmates. We did this together. I walked back to my seat. The rest of the ceremony passed in a blur. When it ended, I made my way through the crowd of families and graduates. Mom reached me first. She was crying. Liv, she said, pulling me into a hug. You're going to Mayo? Yeah, I said. Dad was standing behind her. His eyes were red. Liv? He started, then stopped. Emma hugged me tight. I'm so proud of you, she whispered. I always knew you were brilliant. We took photos on the lawn. The 4 of us, then just me and my parents, then just me and Emma. Dad was quiet, his usual confidence muted. Later, at dinner, a modest celebration at an Italian restaurant near campus, Dad finally spoke. Liv, I need to say something. The table went quiet. When I decided to pay for Emma's education and not yours, I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought you were stronger, more capable, that you didn't need us. He paused, his voice breaking. I was wrong. I asked you to carry a burden that should never have been yours. I punished you for being exceptional. And I'm sorry. Mom was crying again. Emma was holding my hand under the table. You worked 2 jobs, Dad continued. You sacrificed sleep, health, everything. And you still graduated at the top of your class. You still achieved something extraordinary. Not because of our support, but in spite of our absence. I didn't know what to say. I can't undo what I did, Dad said. But I want to help. I want to pay off your loans. I looked at him. At this man who'd shaped so much of my life, for better and worse. I appreciate that, I said slowly. But I don't think I want you to. His face fell. Let me finish, I said. These loans are mine. I earned this degree. I paid for it with my time, my energy, my youth. And yeah, it sucked. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, but it taught me that I don't need anyone to believe in me for me to succeed. It taught me that my worth isn't determined by who invests in me. I took a breath. That said, I'm not cutting you out of my life. You're my parents. I love you. But I need you to understand something. I survived this because I had to. Not because I wanted to. And I won't ever put myself in that position again. Dad nodded slowly. I understand. I'll accept help with the interest, I said. If you want to contribute to that, I'd appreciate it. But the principal is mine to pay off. Deal, Dad said quietly. We finished dinner in subdued conversation. Emma told stories about wedding planning. Tyler talked about his Stanford residency. Mom asked about my plans for moving to Minnesota. When we left the restaurant, Dad hugged me. Really hugged me, the way he used to when I was little. I'm proud of you, he said. I should have said that years ago. But I'm saying it now. I'm so proud of you, Liv. Thanks, Dad, I said. Emma's wedding was gorgeous. The ceremony overlooked the ocean, the reception in a ballroom with crystal chandeliers. I stood beside my sister in my dusty rose dress and watched her marry a good man who loved her. During the reception, she pulled me aside. I talked to Tyler, she said. We want to help with your loans too. Not all of it. But maybe $20,000 or $30,000? Whatever we can swing. Emma, you don't have to. I want to, she said firmly. You've always been there for me. Let me be there for you now. I hugged her tight. Thank you. Besides, she said with a grin, I need the best neurosurgeon in the country to be my sister. Never know when I might need a consult. I moved to Rochester, Minnesota in June. Mayo Clinic is a sprawling complex of buildings in the heart of the city. My residency started on July 1st. The program was everything I'd dreamed of and more. The faculty were world-renowned. The cases were complex, challenging, fascinating. I was learning from the best surgeons in the world, operating on the most intricate part of the human body. It was a 7-year residency, 80-hour weeks, call every fourth night, endless studying for board exams. And I loved every minute of it. Martinez retired from teaching that year, but we stayed in touch. She sent me a card when I started at Mayo. I always knew you'd make it. Now go change the world. I'm in my 3rd year of residency now. I've assisted on over 200 surgeries. I've held a human brain in my hands. I've removed tumors, repaired aneurysms, treated traumatic injuries. I've saved lives. My loans are down to $180,000. I pay $3,000 a month. At this rate, I'll have them paid off in 5 years, right around when I finish residency. Emma had a baby last year, a little girl named Charlotte. I flew back to California for the birth, held my niece in the hospital, and felt my heart expand in ways I didn't know were possible. Mom and Dad visit every few months. Dad started contributing to my loan interest, like I'd agreed to. It helps. More than the money, though, it's the acknowledgement. The recognition that what they did was wrong. We're building a new relationship, one based on mutual respect rather than expectations. It's slower, more cautious, but it's real. Last week, I scrubbed in on a glioblastoma resection. The patient was a 42-year-old woman, a mother of 3. The tumor was in a difficult location, near the motor cortex. One wrong move could leave her paralyzed. My attending, Dr. Reeves, let me do the dissection under his supervision. For 3 hours, I worked with microscopic precision, separating tumor from healthy brain tissue, preserving every critical structure. When we closed, Dr. Reeves pulled down his mask and smiled. That was exceptional work, Dr. Morrison. Truly exceptional. The patient woke up with full motor function. She squeezed her daughter's hand. She smiled. And I thought about my own journey, about the nights I'd cried from exhaustion, about the meals I'd skipped to make rent. About the moment I'd opened that envelope and seen Mayo's name. I thought about what Dr. Martinez once told me. The best surgeons aren't the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who fought for every inch. Because they know what it means to fight. If you're watching this and you've ever felt overlooked, underestimated, or told you're not good enough, I need you to hear this. You are enough. Your worth is not determined by who believes in you. It's determined by who you become when you refuse to give up. My parents thought they were protecting Emma by investing in her. But what they actually did was give me the greatest gift of all, the knowledge that I could do this alone. I didn't need them to believe in me. I just needed to believe in myself. And you know what? That's a lesson worth more than $300,000. Wherever you are in your journey, whatever mountain you're climbing, I want you to know, you're stronger than you think. And the view from the top is going to be worth every painful step. Thank you for listening to my story. If it resonated with you, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your own experiences with being underestimated or overcoming obstacles. And if you want to hear more stories like this, subscribe to Calm Drama Tales. You've got this. I promise.